And I'm here to talk about the truth. And I know there are some truths we know to be self-evident. One of them is that for as long as I live, no matter who holds the governor's office, aside perhaps from Barbara Lawton, no matter who holds the governor's office, my governor will always be Ed Garvey. Always. And let me tell you about a couple other truths. It is the truth that the war in Iraq should never have been fought. It is the truth that the war in Afghanistan should never have been fought. It is the truth that all the troops must come home, not next year, but this year. Bring the troops home now. And it is the truth that the men who are responsible for our young sons and daughters and the sons and daughters of the Iraqi and Afghan people dying each and every day, the men who are responsible for that crime should be held to account before the courts of the world. It is the truth that the sinful redistribution of the wealth upward by George Bush and Dick Cheney was not an economic policy, it was theft. And it is the truth that Ben Bernanke, Larry Summers, and Tim Geithner prove every day Woody Guthrie was right. Some men will rob you with a 6-gun, and some will do it with a fountain pen. And it is the truth, it is such a truth, that we do not need a public option. We do not need a compromise on health care reform. We need single-payer national health care for all, universal health care, Medicare for all, no compromise. No compromise in the name of Linda Farley. No compromise in the name of Gene Farley. No compromise in the name of every doctor who has told us that the only cure for our broken healthcare system is everybody in, nobody out. Everybody in, nobody out. Everybody in, nobody out. Everybody in, nobody out. Single payer health care for all. And it is the truth that we will not end those wars. We will not bust the banksters. We will not get health care for all until we have a media that tells the truth. George Bush lied, but that was his job. He's a politician. The media let him get away with those lies. The banksters robbed us. That is the truth. They're bankers. But the media let them get away with that theft. The insurance companies are lying about health care reform. No question about that. But it is the media that is allowing them to get away with the lies about the health care crisis in this country and the fantasy that so warps our debate. The people who rely on Medicare and Medicaid go to town hall meetings and say, I don't want the government touching my body. It is the truth that our media system is an absolute disaster, and there is no need to mourn the collapse of that system. We should bury it. But we cannot bury journalism with it. We have to get involved in building the next media system. We have to supercharge public broadcasting. We have to supercharge funding for community radio. We have to have an internet for all, and we have to have fightingbob.com, not just in Wisconsin, but nationwide. Garvey Blog nationwide. Let us build the media system that tells us the truth. And if we do, if we build that media system that tells us the truth, if each and every one of you makes media reform not your first issue, I don't want you to give up peace. I don't want to give up Buxton the banksters. I don't want you to give up single-payer health care. But if every one of you makes media reform your second issue, we will have the greatest, most powerful movement this nation has ever seen. And we will stop the wars and break the grip of the military-industrial complex. We will use the truth of a new media system to hold George Bush and Dick Cheney to account. We will bust the banksters. We will have single-payer health care. We will honor the legacies of Linda Farley and Midge Miller. And we will prove Bob La Follette right. The only cure for what ails democracy is more democracy. And what makes democracy work, what makes it work, what has always made it work, is an informed citizenry. People given the information they need to stand up and say to presidents, to kings, to prime ministers, no, you no longer rule, we rule. Power to the people, power to Bob Fest, media reform!